Hello and welcome to the Print Dashboard. Prime Minister Modi is soon going to meet Tesla chief Elon Musk, and the world's largest EV maker is making all the noise in India right now, scouting for shops to open its new showrooms. Its India entry has been anticipated for some time now, and with the new EV policy coming in last month, things have just started to become a bit faster for Tesla in its India debut. We're joined once again by Prince Auto expert Kushan Mitra to know what's happening on ground. Welcome Kushan, welcome to Dashboard, welcome to the Print.
Thank you, Anurag. We've discussed Elon on several of these,
Right.
but he is finally coming on Sunday the 21st.
We may have discussed Elon and Tesla more than once on Dashboard, but then he keeps giving us all the reasons.
He gives us.
And this time around there are so much more developments happening. So what's exactly happened in last 1 month, Kushan, that sort of forced us to do it one more time?
Let's look at the EV policy first, as you mentioned in your intro. So the government, just before the Model Code of Conduct, announced a new EV policy. Now, this EV policy says that car makers who invest a minimum of $500 million, can bring in 8,000 cars a year, valued up to 35,000 rupees custom import value. 8,000 cars a year for 5 years, that's 40,000 cars, at a reduced customs rate of 15%. Now, this, I have gone and spoken to several car makers. I've written about this as well in my columns. They said the policy is very thin on details, and possibly the details will only come up after the new government is sworn in. Now, what does this mean? This means very simply that the government will take a loss of about 6 lakhs per car, but they've also said that whoever takes advantage of this will have to give bank guarantees, because they want them in 3 years to have 25% domestic value addition, and by 5 years 50% domestic value addition. What is interesting is that existing car makers that have taken advantage of performance linked incentives such as Maruti, Tata, Volvo, iShare, all of these guys will not get impacted by the new EV policy, because their benefits under the PLI scheme are going to be similar.
Right.
So this only...
Then who is it for?
It's quite clear that this EV policy has been written with one company in mind. You know which one.
Right.
And maybe VinFast, that has just invested in Chennai, the Vietnamese car maker. Among existing car makers in India, I think the Volkswagen Group can also take advantage of the EV policy if they want to.
Right.
Because from what I understand, the German car companies are a bit afraid of Tesla, because Tesla is kind of not good news for them, and they are losing market share in China as well.
Right. Ironically, the first of the Teslas would be coming from Germany itself,
which is very smart, by the way, not from China.
And but Kushan, looking at the EV policy, I think there's a cutoff, there's a marker for $35,000
Yes.
worth products, items, vehicles. But Tesla usually makes expensive cars, so I mean it's
Correct.
And going by the latest reports that are coming in, like yesterday only it announced 10% of its workforce to be laid off across the world.
Yeah.
And there are also reports emerging that the smaller car project that it was working on, apparently Model
The Model 2.
Model 2 is also some sort of now on the back burner. So how does Tesla plan to stay in that zone of $35,000 cap?
Okay. Firstly, when the Model 2 story came out, Elon on Reuters, Elon responded with Reuters is dying on a tweet, on a post on X, his other platform. Now Reuters did break the story about Elon coming to India also, so he didn't respond to that one. So you don't know. Maybe I still think a Model 2 should be in the works. May take a few years.
Right.
For Indian market. Now, I don't agree Tesla only makes expensive cars. A Model 3, which is the current entry-level product.
Right.
In China, if you buy the base Model 3 with the smaller battery pack, single motor, is around with subsidies and all is about $25,000.
Right.
Now, and that's after margins of the car maker and all of that, right? I mean, this is selling price. The car can be bought as low as $22,000 in some US states because of state subsidies, which you don't have in India. The Model Y, which is the entry-level SUV, also on the entry-level models is under 35.
Right.
Obviously, prices go up depending on dual motor, larger battery packs, etc., etc. So I think he can get in products. I still think a Model 2 ought to be on the way. If not a Model 2 or whatever he calls it. I think a smaller car is essential for India. I think the Model 3 is quite a largish car for the Indian market. And of course, last year, as stories have emerged, as the full year sales have come out, 60% of the Indian market was SUVs.
Right.
So I think something like a slightly smaller Model Y,
Right.
which is their SUV, would be the car to bring into India.
Right. Kushan, there is a lot of noise about Tesla as I mentioned earlier, for the last 2 years, in last 2-3 months, different reports coming in about its India story. There is seemingly a lot of excitement on the ground, but I mean, for me and for I'm sure a lot of our viewers would want to know what exactly are the tangible gains that India is going to, expect out of this entry of the world's largest EV maker. Because, as I said earlier, that Tesla, as you said, I mean, yeah, Tesla can bring India-specific products. You have said it earlier in earlier dashboard episodes also, but what is it that they are going to gain on the ground? Because I think sometime last year, India kind of denied entry to BYD. They were partnering with an Indian firm, and they wanted to do a plant somewhere down south. What is special about Tesla?
Tesla is not Chinese, to be start. Why was BYD denied entry? Let's be very honest. BYD is Chinese. The reason that SAIC, that is MG Motors, would sell on the MG Motor brand in India, has had to tie up with Sajjan Jindal's JSW is because SAIC has been unable to invest in India as well.
Right.
This is global geopolitics. I mean, we know this. I don't want to get into the details. India and China are not friends, despite what the Prime Minister has said recently. So let's look at that aside. Tesla, while much of Tesla's money comes from China, Tesla also sees the rise of BYD and SAIC as a threat in China. The Europeans see that as a threat today. So that is one. There is also VinFast, the Vietnamese car maker that is setting up in Chennai.
Okay.
But they are unproven. So we don't know what the products will look like. They are setting up offices, and there's a lot that's been happening in Vietnam recently with the economy.
Right.
So Tesla is American, and Elon and Modi do get along. Prime Minister Modi, in his interview with the ANI yesterday, also mentioned some stuff. So, yeah, again, I think there's I don't know what the tangible benefits will be. I think it will definitely excite some people, particularly fence sitters,
Right.
on the electric car market. There is demand for premium electric cars. I mean, I think the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which I've driven for a while, proves.
Right.
The car maker sells about 150 of those. I think Tesla can easily sell 5,000 cars a month, but he's going to invest $2 to $3 billion. That's going to be a big plant.
Right. So, Kushan, coming to the the competition in the Indian market, like as you had mentioned, BYD in both in the US market and in China has been. It briefly became the world's largest.
It is
EV
in volume, I think. It's
in last quarter,
Yeah.
according to some reports, last quarter of last financial year. And even though BYD is not that big in India, there are other homegrown EV makers that have sort of got the leg up from the beginning. Tata is there for one. What kind of competition, or is there no competition that is out there for Tesla?
I just mentioned the Hyundai Ioniq 5. That car obviously proves that there's a market. Hyundai is selling about 150 to 200 of these every month, and it's almost 50 lakh rupee product, which is quite a lot. BMW last year sold over 1,000 electric, and the cheapest BMW EV. I mean, you can say the mini EV is only 50 lakhs, but the cheapest, the best-selling BMW EV was the iX, which is over 1 crore. So they sold almost 700 of those. So obviously there is demand for premium electric cars in India. I know Maruti has recently, in Autocar India's broke a story saying the Maruti's EV, the EVX, is going to be delayed.
Right.
But it's going to come out by early next year, no matter what. It's supposed to come late this year. It's going to come early next year. Hyundai and Kia are bringing in a made in India EV. Many expect it to be electric version of the Creta or Creta sized EV. Again, by early to mid next year. Honda is going to have an electric version of the Elevate by early to mid next year. But one thing I have seen with EVs, and this was mentioned to us by the outgoing marketing chief at Maruti Suzuki, Shashank Srivastav, in a meeting, and I mentioned this in the hybrid story I did, which is Indians are now choosing hybrids because there is no confidence in the charging ecosystem. Maybe Tesla coming in will build up their charging ecosystem and that's how Tesla really promoted their cars in the US, in Europe, by building up the charging ecosystem.
Right. I mean, that's what I also wanted to know. I was reading a report some few months ago, or maybe last year. Tesla went into some sort of a partnership with a Tata company for sourcing in chips,
semiconductors. Yeah.
So that is the infrastructure side of the ecosystem that India badly needs right now. Do you think something of that sort, as you mentioned charges, something of that kind of infrastructure Tesla is going to bring in to India?
Tesla, I'm sure, will bring in a lot of infra to India. They'll have to build up the charge. Tesla has its own patented supercharger network. Maybe they'll do the India-specific charging point, the CCS2 charging point. They're tying up with Tata for semiconductors. In fact, we all know that Elon will probably be meeting Chandra. We don't know if he's going to be meeting Gautam Adani or Mukesh Ambani as yet. We suspect that he will. But then, will he be sourcing batteries from Tata? There's a Tata company called Agratas, which is also based in Sanand, that is going to be making cells. The semiconductor plant is also around Gujarat. So that's why all these tie-ups with Tata have got people thinking, are Tesla and Tata going to tie up? Will Tata get the benefits out of all this? Will Tata manage their cars through Tesla as well? And does Gujarat become the pole sitter for the Tesla plant?
Right.
So those will be tangible benefits. Also, Tesla coming in will give consumers a bit of, I mean, should you buy an electric car? It's a much deeper question. It's a question that I've written about in multiple columns. Consumer preferences change, but yes, if you live in a city, if you're commuting inside a city, EVs make a lot of sense, but only if you have your own home charging ecosystem. That's what I still continue to believe.
Right. Kushan, there have been a lot of talks going on. Where exactly would Tesla set up its factory? There have been at least 4-5 states, including Gujarat, UP, and Tamil Nadu, I suppose, who are in contentions. What do you think would be Tesla's?
I think Gujarat, as I just mentioned. I also think.
Do you think there is one state that has one kind of some sort of an upper hand when it comes?
Tamil Nadu has been bidding very aggressively. They wanted near Chennai because of port facilities, but I think Hosur, because also near the border with Bangalore, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka Tamil Nadu border near Bangalore, because Ather, Ola, and TVS are already in Hosur, and there is a EV ecosystem in a matter of speaking. Gujarat because of Tata Motors. Maharashtra again, huge industrial state. I'm hearing Telangana and Andhra also in the running. So there are lots of states in the running, the industrial states definitely. I believe Haryana and UP were in the running, but I don't think Haryana land is far too expensive. and I don't think UP is quite there as yet.
Right. With Elon coming in India, and there are anticipation of big announcements vis-a-vis Tesla's India plans, but it looks like there'll be at least 2 years from now on before if Tesla builds a factory in India, which it will eventually. At least 2 years before the first car rolls out from its India facilities, or maybe more than that. Do you think India is already too late vis-a-vis China? At least we are 5-7 years late vis-a-vis China when it comes to Tesla's entry. And do we need to learn something from the Chinese when it comes to inviting companies like Tesla to their country, and giving the home market some sort of a kickstart or a boost?
Firstly, China has been very clever with Tesla in the sense they knew what technology Tesla brought in. Until then, China always insisted car makers do a joint venture, right?
Right.
Tesla doesn't have a joint venture in China. China is obviously more agile. I don't think India is slow. I think we've learned a lot. The Apple PLI has taught us a lot. You can see that today almost 1 in 7 iPhones in the world is made in India. That's from zero just a few years ago. This is huge growth. I don't think if Tesla was to invest $2 to $3 billion, it cannot be just for India.
Right.
Cars from here will have to go to Southeast Asia, they'll have to go to Africa, they'll have to go to other countries.
Right.
Where a smaller car will work. Tesla has plants all over. I have said before, and I've written this, Elon has very ambitious dreams for being the world's leading car maker, and he cannot achieve those without being in the world's third largest car market.
Right.
Simple as that. But he has brand equity, definitely. But the thing is, as I said, Maruti, Hyundai, they're also doing stuff. It's not as if they're going to roll over novel Tata Motors,
right.
Or whether, no matter how much Tata ties up with Tesla or not, or Mahindra is going to roll over and let Elon
right.
steal the show.
Right.
So I'll wait and watch.
Right.
We wait and watch. We like to see the products. This is just an announcement.
Right.
Nothing has been signed as yet. The clock will start ticking only after it is signed. I don't know, with the model code of conduct on, I don't know how things can be announced.
Yeah.
Even if a state can be announced on the 21st.
Absolutely. But amid all this uncertainty and questions, there's one thing that's clear, that India's EV story is about to move into a faster lane.
Yeah, that is sure. And I think one more thing with Elon, he's also here for his other businesses.
Right.
It's not just Tesla. I think we all conflate Elon with Tesla and X. He's here for Starlink and SpaceX as well. So yeah, don't forget.
There's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah.
With that, we come to this episode of the end of the print dashboard. Thank you, Kushan.
Thank you, Anurag. Thank you.